and welcome to Productivity Unleashed. Thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to talk about staying organized and what that means, what that entails, and why are we pushing to stay organized and to get productive. I know a lot of people want to do that, but we're going to talk about all of that all together today. Thanks for joining us. If you are live today, be sure to put where you're joining us from in the chat. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Alrighty. First of all, I do want to know who you are and where you're joining from, and why did you choose to join this free workshop? Other than the fact that being free, obviously, we love those things. I personally always look for anything that is free and complimentary out there because I love learning new things and adding to my toolbox of things. So in today's workshop, Productivity Unleashed, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about using print planners, using digital planners, and ways to stay organized. And there's going to be some bonus items too that I'm going to talk to you about that I have personally used and found really great in getting me super organized. And first of all, why being productive? Let me give you a little bit of background about myself. My name is Nagam, or Nagam, for those of you who are able to actually pronounce the Arabic Nagam. And in English, that means melody. And I have been using several tools for productivity and organization throughout my life because I want to learn different things that help me stay organized. So what have I done in the past that I really needed to stay organized? One, I was a teacher. In a classroom, you have students and all their work, all the homework that you have, all the planning that you need to do, and you have to stay super organized, stay on top of everything that you have to do. And this is on top of being a mother, having children at home, having to stay organized at home. I have to actually make sure that I am staying organized at work as well. On top of being a former teacher, I was a former principal for 8 years. And can you imagine the amount of work that I had to do throughout my day to get and stay organized, to make sure that the day goes smoothly? Between budgeting, scheduling, making sure everybody's turning in all the paperwork, making sure all the state audits are in place, federal audits are in place. There's so many things that you juggle during the day. And of course, the unforeseen events that just come up unpredictably, things that happen that you have to make sure that you are ready for, and no matter what. And so you can imagine, I have run a pretty hectic day as a school principal. Coming home, I still work sometimes, and then there is the home and everything that it needs. My children, my husband, my home life, my bills, all of the above. And in order for me to juggle all of this and be able to handle everything and stay calm, I had to find tools to help me. And I've played around with different tools and actually found several tools that put all my life together for me and helped me throughout all of this. And as of after leaving being the principalship, I work now as a director of staff mentoring and coaching, where I actually do training. I train our staff in the school district on how to teach, how to help students in the classroom. And there are other topics. I help administrators as well. Now, throughout my years professional experience, I have been asked several times to actually show different people how to stay productive and how to stay organized. And that's exactly what I did. As part of my job as well, I did a lot of extensive training as a principal. I train administrators so that they are able to handle their day and show them different tools that they can take the work that that takes some hours of work and actually turn it into a smaller chunk and something that is doable. So I have done that, and I've been asked several times to show people how to do this. And just recently, a couple of people actually have asked me. A friend of mine she actually asked me to write a book about productivity and organization. I'm not there yet. And then somebody else reached out to me from, I forget the name, it's a university in Canada, and they would like me to present a workshop on productivity. And I thought, well, how about we start here? And so What we're going to talk about today is a compilation of things that I have used and helped me tremendously throughout my job. Now, I have also recently, I'm running my own business. I'm a CEO and founder of InCan Leadership Development, where I actually provide workshops on leadership training, including organization. And imagine my day coming from my 9 to 5 work, having to deal with everything that I have to do, set up my budget, my planning, for my whole day, the training. When you work in a school district during this time, this is the time you actually start planning for the upcoming school year. There's so many tools out there that actually can help us stay organized, plan effectively, prioritize effectively, and get everything done that we want to do, and still have some time for ourselves and enjoy our life. And so going to show you some things, some digital and traditional tools that you could use to help you take control of your life more and better. We're going to go through some tools, and I'm actually going to throw in a couple of bonus tools that I'm using. I love sharing these productivity tools because it really helps get rid of this clutter in your life and gets you organized. Alrighty. So let's get started. Let's talk about some of the tools. First of all, we talk about staying organized and what that means. And some people, it means organizing your closet, your workspace, your living room, whatever the case may be. And what I mean in this case is when you stay organized, when you find ways to organize the things that you have to do, okay, regardless of what they are, if they are things that you do at home or there's things you do at work, or you've got a group, a social group or religious group that you follow, you organize these things, and guess what happens? You become more productive. You start actually getting things done. I'm not going to say more things, because getting more things done isn't necessarily what you're after, because sometimes you do a lot of things and you don't end up being productive. Productive is doing the things that matter, that are urgent, that are important. These are the two things that you have to focus on. So how do we do that? First of all, with time management. Time management is one of the things that a lot of people talk about, and we don't know, well, what is this big secret on time management? How do you actually manage your time? Prioritization is the second thing in staying organized and being productive. Being able to prioritize, figuring out what is actually priority. Not everything on your to-do list is a priority, believe it or not. It actually also, once you stay organized, not only do you become more productive, you reduce that stress that you have on you because you get stuff done. It feels actually really good to get stuff done. You check things off that list. It feels really good. And so it does reduce stress. Let's see, what goal setting and achievement. When you've got a set of things on your to-do list, you've got a goal that you are working towards. And once what's the point of getting this goal done? You've got an achievement at the end of this. All right. So let's say you're working on, class, coursework. What's the end of that? The assessment, the paper, the grade, the degree. What is it? The dissertation. Goal setting is important in figuring out how to stay organized. You have to have that goal at the end of whatever it is that you're working on. So if your to-do list doesn't have a goal, it's kind of wishy-washy. So make sure you've got that goal. And then adaptability. When you have this set of ways to do things and you are super organized, not only are you productive, but you are able to manage anything that comes your way. A lot of times we are working on something and something happens unpredictably. You get faced with another problem, a phone call you take and you've got an emergency, or an email comes in and you've got something you've got to do and drop everything. So once if you get in a system where you are more organized, you become more adaptable. You actually have this flexibility about you now that you are able to handle things that come your way, regardless if you have planned for them or not. And then finally, your work becomes a lot more of quality. So you're not just, again, remember, I said earlier, it's not about getting more things done. It's about getting quality things done. There are ways where you can actually eliminate some things that you don't need to do There are things that you can delegate to other people. And then there are things that you can automate to get things done quicker, faster. You don't have to spend so much time. There's so many different tools out there with even without AI. Excel does automation. There is a software called Notion that I use a lot that does automation, and it's great tools. It helps save so much time. And guess what? Outlook automates as well. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there's simple tools that do automations that can save us a lot of time so we can focus our attention on the more important things in our life that demand a larger capacity of our attention. And this is why when I say prioritization, you have to be able to prioritize and figure out what is it that is important to you? What is it that is urgent? If that thing fits the urgent and important, then it is of priority. Okay. So now we get into the how. How do you do that? We talked about why. We talked about why to organize, why to stay productive. And now let's talk about the how. How do you stay organized? There are several tools, of course, out there that a lot of people use. And this is it's not an extensive list of that are out there. There are so many that are not going to be mentioned in this because obviously of the time that we have together. We have 1 hour. So we're going to mention a few things that I have personally used and I have found effective, and of how do we stay organized. First of all, number one, write. As simple as write things down. Now, some people prefer to actually hold a pen and or a pencil and a paper and actually write things down, or some people prefer to type. Either way is okay, as long as you actually take the to-do list from up here from your head onto a piece of paper or onto your phone, laptop, tablet, computer. What happens if your to-do list stays up here is that the second you turn around and you answer a phone call and you talk about something else and something else comes up, this to-do list gets pushed back because something else goes in the front of your brain to be remembered. And then you turn around and then an email comes up and then there's something you have to do and then a to-do list gets pushed back. So some people are able to keep to-do list there altogether and be able to remember all of it, but it's very rare occasion where you are able to pull all of this from your short-term memory. The best way to do this is to actually write it down. Take it out of your head and write it down. As soon as you have something that you think you is important that you need to remember, you need to work on, write it down, and then you don't have to worry about trying to remember. Secondly, when you write, it gets overwhelming. You start writing things down and it gets overwhelming. The best way to do it is to classify or categorize what you are writing down. What is this list for? Maybe classify it by the space or the place of where this list is coming from. Is it coming from the office? Is it coming from your house? Is it even in the house? Is it bills that you're writing a list for? Is it classify things, put them into different categories to help you stay even more organized. If it's a long list, a terribly long list, 15 things, and we human beings, we have so much going on during the day that we tend to have really long lists, and it's not organized in any way or fashion, then you start going down the list and then there's some things that are really more important than others and they just get lost in the middle of everything. So make sure you categorize and make sure you look through your list to determine what is more priority than other things. And that's my next point, prioritize. Even after you categorize, you have to make sure that you know what is really high priority. Again, 2 things determine priority items. 1, you have to make sure that the item that is priority is important and it's urgent. If it's important and urgent and it meets those 2 conditions, then it is priority, and you mark it with a star or you highlight it or use whatever you want to use to help you remember this is priority. Now, some people do highlighting and they highlight the heck out of their list, and then they've got the yellow and the pink and the green and the blue, and they forget what colors they're using. Now, if you're going to remember, great. But if you are going to forget what these colors are for, I would just say use one color, and that color is going to be your priority list. Highlight anything that is priority, anything that is important, anything that is urgent, and these are the things that get done. That's it. And then cross them off when they're done. Simple as that. Number 4, set timelines. If you've got a to-do list and you've got no due dates on those things, when exactly are these things going to get done? Then you have no accountability. So make sure as you're going through your list, set some timeline. When do you start? When do you foresee yourself finishing? And be realistic with that. Because if you don't set timelines, there's some things that are just going to get pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and because other things become more urging and then on your list. So make sure you get those things on your to-do list marked with due dates. And you can do this multiple different ways. Automate if possible. Like I said earlier, there are tools that can help you automate your work so that you don't have to keep doing everything by hand. There's so many different things that you could do. Calculations can be done by Excel. There's a lot of Excel tools like the autofill in Excel actually helps you fill out. Let's say you're writing a list of names in Excel, 2 columns. One column has the first name, second column has the second name, and you want to combine those. There's a formula, the formula in Excel to actually do this, or you can simply just do this. Go to the third column, cross from the first and the second name, and write down the full name that you want. So if you've got John Smith, first column is John, second column is Smith, you write in the third column, John space Smith. And then you go to the next cell and you hit Control E. And there, the whole list gets filled based on that first example you gave it. And that's an automation. And it takes this long to actually get done instead of you having to type everything by hand. And that's just one example of automation, which we will go through in detail in later workshop. All of these things that I'm talking about, we're going to go through in later detail. And then finally, celebrate. It is so important to recognize and celebrate your work, even with small things that you get done. It's important that you celebrate those things and give yourself the space to recognize what you have done and what you have accomplished. Because if you just keep going, you finish one thing and you start tackling the next and the next, you don't give yourself enough time to see what you have done, what you have accomplished, and you get overwhelmed and tired and exhausted, and that is not a way to get productive. Productivity doesn't come from actually continuous work. You need to give yourself some time to heal from what you have done before you go on and you tackle the next item. Alrighty. So there are, and remember for today, we're going to talk about of the tools, the print and the digital tools. So, and those are the traditional planner that we typically use and the digital planners. And there are different types of them. Even with the traditional planner, they come with different types. Now, I'm currently using this guy right here, and I keep all my items in here. I love this because it also keeps any small notes that are on sticky notes right in here before I take it and turn it into something else, because I don't keep small notes just hanging in there. I turn them into a more long-term area of storage to help me get back to it later on if I ever needed to. The other thing that you could do, and this is one of the bonus items, is you can create tags. Now, this is harder to do in a traditional planner. This is more for a digital planner. Creating tags helps you go back and search easily. Let's say you created a note, and this note has to do with, say, your budgeting meeting. And you create a tag. You put in budgeting is one of the tags. Another tag is a meeting. Let's say later down the road, after you've created these tags, you're looking for something, and instead of having to go through your files one by one, you go into the search bar and you search budgeting. Everything that you've tagged comes up, and then you look at that. And then let's say you want to actually specifically look for that meeting on budgeting, then you can write budgeting and meeting, and both of these tags come up. And of course, if you have the date in there, that's the best thing. I always date everything I'm saving. It's easier for me to go back and find it. It's a great tool, and I will be showing that later on in the upcoming workshops. Let's talk about the traditional planner. So the traditional planner is the pen and paper planner where you actually write down, and you've got a picture, an image of it here, showing you what that may look like. And it also comes in So there's the monthly where you've got the full month view, all of January, all of February together. You've got the weekly, which is something like this, where you've got your days, Thursday, Friday, each week. And then you've got your daily, where each day is on its separate page. I personally use 8.5 by 11, the regular sheet size, weekly planner. Now, I just migrated into the smaller size planner after I changed my positions, and this is serving me just fine for what I want it to do. As a principal, I found that it's best to use the 8.5 by 11 size planner, because on top of all the scheduling and to-do lists, you have notes. And I loved going back and finding these notes later on. There's so many I took because I did meetings, and it's easier to actually take notes in my planner versus having another sheet of paper that gets lost. But I'm currently using the smaller size. The size is that it gives you more space. Now, I do prefer the weekly planner over the daily because it saves paper. And I prefer it over the monthly because you've got bigger space actually for each of these days. So for Thursday, you've got all of this space. And I'm going to show you in a second, how I organize. I do like to have in my planner one sheet of monthly overview, and then the weekly starts after that. That way I can see an overview of the entire month, and then I can look at my the rest of my week and what that looks like. Here are some tips on how to organize your planner. I'm going to show you in a second what mine would like. But this is a typical weekly planner where you have your entire week laid out in front of you, ahead of you, and it has the dates in it, but I didn't add the date in there. Let's just, imagine today's Monday, the 29th of January. And you've got this space for your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then your weekend right here. Saturday, Sunday. Now, the different types of planners come with different layouts and organizations. Obviously, look at what suits you best. So here's how I like to organize my planner to stay ahead of my week. I like to look ahead and see what I have going, and then what schedules I have, what might apply, what is my to-do list. So first of all, I like to keep it short and doable. If the list of things that I have to do, I focus on what I need to get done that week and spread it out throughout the week. I don't go full on and put everything I have to do. I only focus on the priority items for that week. I only use shorthand to stay, and then of course you have to remember what shorthand you use. So if you're abbreviating everything and you're going back and you're not remembering what that means, it's really not helpful and not productive. Be sure that you remember what you're writing. Okay. If it helps to keep a list of shorthand at the end of the planner to review what all these different words mean, do that. If you have a system already in place, wonderful. Visit this often, because the point of having a planner is that you stay on top of your schedule and you get your things that you are priority, you get them done. But if you're not visiting this and you have no idea what your schedule looks like, it's, kind of a moot point. Make sure that you're revisiting this. Now, if you're using a digital planner, obviously, you've got the pop-up reminders, which I absolutely love. I still use the print planner along with the digital planner because I like to look at the print as well, and I like to write by hand. I like to write my to-do list on there or some things that come up, and then I take what I wrote and I reorganize. And check it off when your item is done. All right, so here's what I do. I like to draw a line in the middle to create two different columns on Monday. In the first column, I write down my schedule. What does my schedule look like? What do I have for the day? What is, my day starts at 8:30 in the morning. So what's the first appointment? What's the first meeting I have? And then that's where that goes. And then the second column is my to-do list. So what is it that I have to get done that day? I need to get the review binders done. I need to start working on next year's budget, and so on and so forth. And then that's my to-do list. And this could be both personal and work related. Call Jackson, set doctor's appointment, rearrange files. And this is what my schedule would look like. In talking about hand, for example, I use doc for doctor APPT for appointments. I use what else? And then eval for evaluation, MTG for meeting. And I just know this because I've been using these abbreviations for so long that I just, I know what I'm talking about when I write this down. Now I have to make sure that my handwriting is legible because sometimes I go back, I wrote so quickly that, looking at it and I don't remember what I wrote. So I have to make sure that I'm actually writing it legibly and I'm able to go back and read it. What I do with this planner after I write it is I take this information and I put it in a digital tool because I like to look at my entire day, and I use something called Notion, and it's Notion. And again, this is Notion is a great productivity tool that, and here it is, that you can try out yourself. And there's a free version and there's a paid version, but I will actually be going through Notion later on in one of the courses because it's a note-taking tool, but it has it has evolved into a lot of other things later on. And I use it for pretty much everything. And actually, this is MCAN Leadership Development. This is my company right here. And this is how I organize things. And I have task list right here, which I can minimize. I don't, when I look at it sometimes, I can open it and look at it. And it right here has my checkbox. So I can click off and then things disappear. I've got some things I got my client portal right here, which if I click on, opens up the different client pages and has not only their contact information, but their schedule, when I'm meeting with them, everything that I actually need in place. My client onboarding processes right here. I have a success list that I started, logistics for my company, things that I'm working on, prospective clients, and all of these things that I don't have to read aloud to you. You can see that. I have a functions calendar, which can be a calendar or it can be at different groups. I like to look at the list right here, so I know when everything's coming up. I have something coming up real quickly, February 7th. I have to make sure that I'm ready for. Or I can look at it in a gallery view. And then these are the projects I'm currently working on. I've got my Toastmasters Club right here with everything that is in it. I even have a one-page website for my Toastmasters right in Notion. I use it for pretty much everything. And this is just for my company. And these are the, my content calendar for my blog, my podcast, my morning coffee newsletter, and everything else that I'm working on, and so on and so forth. There's so much more that I'm using this for. This is my 9 to 5 schedule right here. This is my daily. This is last week, actually. Some of the things that I was working on, my days right here, some of the things here. This is from this year's mentoring, my binders right here, some ideas that I have that I want to actually put to work and so on. And I'm going to soon start, I need to create a 24-25 planning calendar so I can start working on my schedules for next year. And so Notion is a tool that I started using years ago. And actually, I started using it as a student still in college to organize my notes. And I continued using it. And back then, it was just a note-taking tool. It was just a easy to look at, easy to use note-taking tool. And it has evolved into all of this and even more. And it just recently came up with a Notion calendar where you can actually download the calendar and stay organized. Then it has all your calendars in one. And today is not about Notion, but it is one of the tools that I use. And I found it really helpful to put everything in because everything I'm working on can be found in Notion. And it's and if you don't have the app at work, if I go to work on my PC and I can't download for because let's say I need administrative access to actually download, which is not the case. I was able to download it. In case that happens, you can actually just go to the website. It's on the cloud and you could use it anywhere. And it's on my phone, on my tablet. So I've got it everywhere and I keep everything in it. And it also incorporates AI. So it has the AI tool in it that can actually help keep you even more organized. Let's go back to... And so this is, easier for me to start writing, on my planner and turn it into something. Now, there are times when I'm driving and I can't take out my planner and start writing. I just use my phone. I tell Siri to remind me of something. Use reminders, or I tell Siri to put something on my calendar. that's the other tool that I absolutely love is my phone calendar. And that is our segue to our digital planner slash calendar. A lot of people use their phone, their tablet, or their computer for calendars to keep their appointments, but they're a lot more than that. So you've got a lot of different calendars. There's your device calendar, either Outlook or Google, and there's a lot of other calendars out there. Spark Notes, not Spark Notes, Spark. There is, I can't recall the whole list. I've actually tried a few and ended up going back to my calendar on my iPhone. So I love using that tool. And when I'm at work, on my work PC, I use the Outlook calendar because it does the same thing, and they all sync together. So if I'm adding something on my personal calendar, I can actually see it across devices because I have them synced, and I can see my entire day in one overview, which is what's great about digital. There are other planners out there that are really helpful that I have personally tried myself. I've actually tried to do it as a principal a few years ago. I've tried it for an entire school year. I've done, and I wanted to stay with it and see how it works. And it did what it's supposed to do. However, I found myself going back to my actual Outlook calendar or my native calendar on my phone. There's also Things that I also tried extensively, and Things also is a note-taking app. Things, I believe, is only available for the Mac and iOS devices. It's not available for Android. I don't think it's on Windows either, and that's one of the things that I didn't like about it. But I liked, because I'm a Mac user as well as a PC user, I've had that option, but I didn't like not having it on my work. Evernote is one of the first tools that I started using way before Notion. And I used it as a note-taking tool as well for college. And then calendar came out. I started using that for a little bit. But there's some things that I didn't like about Evernote. And I stopped using it. I believe it has evolved, but I haven't gone back to Evernote because Notion does much more than Evernote has ever done. That's why I stuck with it. And I just, kept using Notion. There's Asana that I also used. Again, it's a note-taking tool as well as a calendar app. And then there's the Notion calendar, which is new. So there's all of these tools. And again, this is not an extensive tool list. There are so much more out there that you can, give a try on your own and, kind of check it out for yourself and see what works. But I will go through some of these things that I have on this list in my courses extensively and actually go through and show you what that looks like and how to use them. But today I want to stick with our the calendar that is right there for you on your devices. That is your Outlook calendar, because I want to show you how there's a great way to actually quickly create meetings right from your email. And many people may not be actually aware of this, but it is a great way to remind yourself of things and get things done faster and quick. Not just faster, but actually be able to get the most important things done. And so that's one of the things I'm going to show you. And then one or two, but depending on how much time we have left, one or two bonus items that I'm going to show you from today that you can help organize your notes. You can help organize your schedule, your day visually. If you are a visual learner, it really helps to see your day ahead of you. So let's get into and I'm going to share, Amisha, and show you my email. And you're going to actually see some of the emails. So let me open that and show you what I mean by taking an email and turning it into a calendar item. So where are you? My email. Here it is. So I use the Outlook, new Outlook, Microsoft Outlook to get my mail. And as you see, I have a lot of email addresses, work, school, my business, multiple different emails, even including my Toastmasters club that I run is on here as well. So I get all my emails in here. And as I go through and clean up this list, sometimes I find things that I really need to get back to, So for example, this email from the National Society, they have an event going on that I want to actually get into later on and listen to. They have the saved video, but I don't want to do it just yet. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up here into the 3 little dots up here and then go into meeting. See meeting on this list? I hope this is big enough for you to see. And then once I hit meeting, let me close that. It's not going to show you the screen because I'm not sure. Let me show you the entire screen. It's helpful. There we go. This is better. So once I hit meeting, let me do this again. Okay, I'm in this email. Okay, and then I go into this email. I go to the 3 dots at the top and I hit meeting. And this window pops up, putting everything, the entire email, in a meeting window, in a calendar window, including the person who sent the email to me, which I don't want to put in the calendar. I don't want to send them a calendar invite in this case. So I'm just going to close their name and get rid of that. I'm going to exit out. Okay. And it changes. I don't know if you noticed. Let me go back. Oh, it doesn't do that. Let me show you again. So let's notice the change. I'm going to click on meeting. Okay. And this person's email is right here and it's ready to send. The send button is green and ready to go. And it's on my Gmail calendar. And I can actually choose which calendar I want it to go to, but I'm going to keep it on my Gmail. But look at that. It's ready to go. And I can also schedule it. I can save it as a draft or send it later. I can play around with my reminders. And obviously, I want to change the date. I want it to remind me tomorrow at the same time at 9 o'clock. But here's the thing. When I delete the name of the person that it's going to send to, it turns into a save button. And when I save it, it's going to live in my calendar. I'm going to go to my calendar. I'm going to find it right here and go to tomorrow. And here it is. Just saved it. And this is the quickest way for me. I'm going to go back to my email. This is the quickest way for me. When I'm getting when I get an email, and I get a lot of emails throughout the day, and I don't want to, it's something that is a little less high priority. It is not that urgent, and I want to look at it later. I can schedule it. And this is the fastest way to schedule something. Put it on your calendar. And I love using this because it pops up when it's time for you to look at it. So you can tell it to pop up again, in 3 more days at, 9 a.m. and put the reminder. And you can change the reminder from 15 minutes to the time of the event. And it pops up at that time. And so I love using this. Now, if let's say anybody that you want to include in the email and you want to send a calendar invite to, you can keep their name and they're going to receive it. They're going to save it. They're going to accept it. And it's going to pop up for them too. And then you can meet at that time. And of course, you can always edit. I'm going to show you one more time. So you go meeting, and then the calendar invite opens and edit. You can add things on here. So you're not just, sending this by itself. You can add whatever you want to on here, but I really don't want to create this anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. It's asking me if I want to delete this, and I say yes. So this is one of the things that I wanted to show you on email that I actually love using. And this is my desktop right here, which I'm going to stop sharing. Your email tool, there's so many other functions, by the way, on here that are super helpful for you to use. That's just one of them. This will help you get things done faster, quicker, and then focus on the most important things. The other couple bonuses, let's see if we can get some of those. Here is one. Have you ever heard of the Pomodoro timer? So timing yourself is super helpful. That way, you stay focused on the task at hand. You give yourself some time to get it done, and you go through your list of things to do. And when your time is up, what you do is you give yourself a break. Now, this is set up into 25 minutes of work time. So, and actually, this is the one. This is the timer that I use, and it's a cube. It has 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and 5 minutes. And the second you turn the time on up, let's say I want to set it up for 5 minutes, I take 5 and turn it up, and it starts counting down. And when the 5 minutes are up, it starts, going off and telling me that, I don't know if you can see the blinking red. That means the 5-minute timer is on. My time is up. If I want to time it for 15 minutes, then I just make sure that 15 minutes is pointing up, or 30 minutes pointing up, and so on. If I want to turn it off, I don't want to use it anymore, I just make sure this is at the bottom and no timing is looking up. And this is just, I just have my company name on there, but it doesn't actually come with a sticker. But this is really helpful because if I want to focus, I give myself 30 minutes or 15 minutes of time, and then I take a break. Break is really essential when you are working on something important, because you're going to give yourself time to think, reflect. And when you step away from something and then you come back to it later, you're actually more productive this way. So this, and you can get from Amazon. However, this is available online, and it's pomofocus.io. And this is what you do. You set it up for 25 minutes, and it's going to ask you if you want to allow it to actually, run and then make a sound at the end when it's done. And this is what happens. It gives you a break at the end of this. You can just choose your break. It's 5 minutes, or a long break for 15 minutes. Now, you could also create, so instead of just having it a blank timer, you can tell it what it is you're working on during that time. So your task, you can add right here. I'm in a meeting. I want you to time me for 30 minutes. I don't know. Save. And that's your task number 1. It's your meeting, 25 minutes, and then you hit start. This is not only online. This is also an app on, and I don't know if I have this. I'm pretty sure there's an app for that. However, I do know if you have an iOS device, if you have an iPhone or an iPad, including your MacBook, you have something called Focus, and Focus can be turned on right from your control settings. And I have so many. Let me just get rid of all my notifications. All right. And it and hide the pictures I have on my screen. But it comes in from your control settings. You bring it down, and you could hit, I'm going to do a tutorial on this later on. And you could tell it to focus on, and turn on the focus for this long. Now, you could create different focuses, and you could call it a reading focus, a driving focus, a work focus, whatever it is, and have it set up ahead of time. You could schedule it as well. And again, I'm going to do a tutorial on this to help you see how that works and how to how to use it, because it is super helpful. If you're driving and don't want any distractions, then you can turn on the driving focus. And if your phone has the right settings and it recognizes that you're in the car, it automatically turns it on. And once you're not driving, it turns it off by itself. And I found that it's a great tool. You can do a reading setting and so on and so forth. But it's called Focus, and it's available on your phone, again, for iOS devices. Or you could go online and use this Pomodoro, or get, something else like this device from Amazon or another online retailer. And we're running out of time, but I really quickly want to show you Trello, which I've used also a long time ago. But then after I found Padlet, I changed to Padlet. I'm going to show you Padlet more extensively when I show you how we used it. I have several different areas that I've used it with. But on Trello, if you see, I created a Trello board. It's called a board, where I organize some things. I can create cards, and this is called a card. Today, tomorrow, project. I can create another card and call it long-term planning. And every time, what happened to mine? Where did you go? Atlas. There we go. Every time I have something that is long-term, I can just click on here and add it to here. Let's say something like write a book on productivity. And there. Now it's there. I can also create timers for this to help me, remember. But it's the love about this is that if you've got a project and you don't know where to start and how to start, this is a great place to be. This is a great place to start, help organize. And especially if you're a visual person, it is super helpful to actually see your project right there, the whole thing in front of you. And this is it for the the bonus items that I wanted to share. Again, I'm going to go through all these extensively in my courses. I'm going to show you how they work. I'm going to open up each one of those and go through step by step because I really want you to see how these tools have helped me personally stay organized. Now, because I love seeing people get organized and get more productive and help you grow. To grow, you have to stay on top of your game and stay organized. Take a look at the full course. Take a look at each of the different courses and choose which ones work for you and which ones you're interested in. Take advantage of the discounted, either the discounted price on the full course or the discount on the AnyTool Glint, and see how they work for you. And if they did, great, wonderful. Let us know they work for you. And if there are any other topics in the future that you would like to learn about, I would love to hear from you. We want to make sure that what we do is tailored to what people are looking for, so that it helps you as a leader and as an organized and productive person. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks for watching later on if you're watching the replay. And take a look at these courses and make sure that you take full advantage of everything that we have to offer. Have a wonderful night.